of the City of Rahway authorizing an agreement with JCT Solutions for the installment of additional infrastructure and fiber optic network.
Brooks and Montego.
I wasn't finished. Advanced applications
I'll
and
get that right
services
yet.
in ordinance to enhance security in the downtown area.
Okay,
We're still on 99. The mover and the second.
Mojica and Miles.
Brooks and Montez.
Brooks, yeah.
Council President, I have
Any
a question.
questions or comments?
Council President, I have a question. Miss,
Miles.
excuse me if I get your name wrong. Miss Shulai had stood up and she was concerned about the CCTV. That's this one. Is that correct? Could we? I'm from England originally. I've been here about 24 years, and anywhere you go in England, you're on camera. It's everywhere, and it's from my past experience in England. The police have found it really helpful to help ensure safety within cities. Whether it's a car coming through, racing through, going crazy, they can follow it on the camera. To being able to call additional police to an area if that's necessary, because they can tune in. Could I just ask the administration to just say a little bit more to her question?
Absolutely, Councilwoman. Thank you. So the CCTV cameras, we understand that there's always a concern about privacy. The law recognizes that, or it has a statute that basically says that what you expose to the public is considered to be in the public's domain. That meaning that if you're standing out on your steps and someone takes a picture of you, you can't say it's an invasion of privacy because you stood into the public. I know that doesn't help you understand what's happening with the CCTV cameras, but it's less of a privacy issue and more of an evidence gathering and somewhat of a mitigating tool for officer safety and for public safety. I will admit that I think we can all agree that they don't prevent crimes as much as we'd like them to. Hence, that's why you see a lot of crimes captured on video, because it doesn't really do that. But when you're trying to determine who committed a crime or what happened or where people went or what they look like, then obviously the digital imagery is one of the best things that you can use. So the purpose is to increase the protection to the residents and also the businesses throughout the city, and the CCTV cameras are the best way to do that. They're an excellent force multiplier that we certainly don't have to pay for additional police officers and other people to walk around trying to enforce or protect the citizenry. So I hope that provided some help. Councilwoman.
That help? Yes. Okay. Thank you, sir. Okay. We'll read AR 100-25.
A resolution approving a professional services contract to Connolly and Hickey Historical Architects, LLC for professional architectural services for the City of Rahway.
Read Mojica and Miles. You read AR 101-25.
A resolution authorizing the mayor and city council of the City of Rahway to administer the Municipal Alliance Grant, including the administrative compliance and audit requirements of the modified GCSUD's Municipal Alliance Grant for fiscal year 2025-2026 and entering into a contract thereto.
Brown and Mojica, any questions or comments from the council? If not, we're going to go on to AR 102-25.
A resolution authorizing the City of Rahway to enter into a cooperative pricing agreement.
That'll be Timmons and Montez. Any council questions, comments? Okay, we'll read AR 103-25.
A resolution authorizing the purchase of a vehicle from H.A. DeHart Son Incorporated, a member of the Hunterdon County Educational Services Commission Cooperative Pricing System.
Mojica and Miles, any questions or comments from the council? No? Not, we'll go on to AR 104-25.
A resolution authorizing the refund of money due to the redemption of tax sale certificates for 2022 and 2024 tax liens.
Montez and Brooks, any questions or comments from the council? If not, we'll go on to AR 105-25.
A resolution authorizing the refund of overpayments of taxes for the calendar year 2025.
That'll be Miles and Brown. Any questions or comments from the council? Okay, we'll go on to AR 106-25.
A resolution authorizing the refund of an overpayment of water bills.
Mojica and Montez. Any questions or comments? We'll go on to AR 107-20.
A resolution authorizing a non-fair and open contract with Najmi Technologies for local area network maintenance and management.
That'll be Timmons and Miles. Any questions or comments from the council? If not, AR 10825.
A resolution to approve the appointment of Frank Ruggiero to the position of Public Agency Compliance Officer.
And that'll be Brown and Brooks. Any questions or comments from the council? If not, AR 10925.
A resolution for the purpose of awarding a contract for the purchase of a Spartan ER Extreme Duty pumper from Spartan's Motors, a vendor of the Sourcewell Cooperative Pricing System.
That'll be Browns and Timmons. Any questions or comments from the council? If not, we'll go on to AR 1010-25.
A resolution authorizing the City of Rahway through the Rahway Police Department to participate in the Defense Logistics Agency Law Enforcement Support Office 1033 program to enable the Rahway Law Enforcement Agency to request and acquire excess Department of Defense equipment.
That's Miles and Mojica. Any questions or comments? Okay, we'll go on to 10125.
11125, a resolution awarding a contract to Cablevision Lightpath LLC for fiber internet services.
That's Brooks and Montiga. Any questions or comments? Okay, AR 11225.
A resolution temporarily suspending provisions of Chapter 365-1 through 365-3 sidewalk encumbrances and Chapters 365-50 through 365-51 closing of streets of the Code of the City of Rahway for Hot Rods and Harleys 2025.
Brown and Mojica. And any questions or comments? AR 113-25.
A resolution ratifying payment to Berto Construction Incorporated for manhole frame and cover replacement at 190 West Inman Avenue.
Maybe Miles and Brown. Any questions or comments? AR 11425.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a contract between the City of Rahway and CME Associates for construction administration services associated with the 2025 CDBG Year 50 Roadway Improvements Project.
That's Montez and Miles. Any questions or comments? AR 11525.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a contract between the City of Rahway and T&M Associates for professional engineering services associated with the Peso Improvement Project.
That's Timmons and Miles. Any questions or any comments? We'll go to AR 11625.
A resolution authorizing the execution of a contract between the City of Rahway and Hire Gruel and Associates for professional planning services to prepare a master plan reexamination report and related ordinances.
That's Montez and Brooks. Any questions or comments? We go on AR 11725.
A resolution authorizing a change order to the contract between the City of Rahway and CME Associates for additional professional engineering services associated with the Witherspoon Street outfall improvements.
That's Timmons and Mojica. Any questions or any comments? We go to AR 11825.
A resolution authorizing the acceptance of a bid for the project entitled Tully Field Pickleball Courts for the City of Rahway to D. Avellino Construction Incorporated.
It's Timmons and Miles. Any questions or any comments? Okay, we're going to AR 11925.
A resolution renewing a contract extension to Environmental Systems Research Institute Incorporated for Geographic Information System software.
Montez and Mojica. Any questions, any comments? We'll read AR 12025.
A resolution authorizing a contract between the City of Rahway and Prestige Environmental Incorporated for professional environmental engineering services for a water treatability study using AEC technology.
That's Brown and Miles. Any questions, any comments? We'll go to AR 12125.
A resolution authorizing the filing of liens against certain properties to recover cleanup costs incurred by the city in accordance with the provisions of Section 151-4 of the Code of the City of Rahway and NJSA 40:40A-2.14.
Montez and Brooks. Any questions, any comments? AR 12225.
A resolution authorizing an interlocal services agreement with the Township of Clark for emergency court services.
That'll be Brown and Timmons. Any questions, any comments? Okay, would you read AR 12325?
A resolution recording the mayor's appointment to the Environmental Commission.
Okay, that'll be Montez and Brown. Any questions, any comments? AR 2425.
A resolution appointing alternate members to the Environmental Commission.
That's Jabalisco and the entire council. Do you have any comments or questions? Okay. The resolutions have been adopted in one motion. The consent agenda, do any councilman wish to remove or anything from the council agenda? May I have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda?
I make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Okay, may I have the roll call, please?
Did somebody
I
second?
second that motion.
Okay. Oh, okay. Got it. Okay, roll call.
Roll call.
Councilmember Brooks,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
Miles,
Yes.
Mohica,
Yes.
Montestioka,
Yes.
Newberry and Parson are absent. Timmons,
Yes.
Jablisco.
Yes. Okay, we're going to do the second reading. And Mr. Capone, could you read O-1125?
An ordinance amending Chapter 199-7 Fees and Special Service Charges pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Records Act.
At this time, we'll open the public hearing, O-25. You have 5 minutes to speak. Anyone who'd like to speak, please direct your questions to the council only. Thank you.
Okay, so I have Kalashia Lloyd. Kwani Palmer Chambliss. Sure, thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Quanae Palmer Chambliss, 1227 East Front Street, Plainfield, New Jersey, 07062. I am here as the immediate past president of the Rahway NAACP, and I want to talk about this ordinance. Oftentimes, when we try to solve a problem, we actually create another problem. And what I would like to speak to is the equity of this ordinance to apply fees in order for people to be able to get information. We know that in New Jersey, the wealth gap here is $322,000, white people 17,700, black people. We know that when we talk about interactions with the police, far more often African Americans and other people of color have interactions with the police more than others. We already see that some of our that our open records was gutted, I believe, back in 2024. I forgot the actual month. I was very concerned about this opening up a Pandora's box and a slippery slope, and I see that we're getting ready to slide. We know that body cam footage has been very, very important into helping African Americans who are encountering police and perhaps suffering violence as a result, gather the necessary information for us to get some wins where before we were not able, no one believed us when we said that these things were happening. So I'm concerned that adding these fees in order to get access to body camera footage, and if I read it right, it's $50 an hour, and I believe it's a minimum 3 hour because they take into account how much time it looks to look at them and redact them or whatever. So 3 hours would be an additional $150 coming out of somebody's pocket. And if you represent one of the marginalized group that already start out behind the 8 ball in terms of having income, you're putting people at a severe disadvantage of being able to access information that others would not have such a difficult time doing. So it's not that I'm against being able to recoup time and making sure that we're spending money correctly. I'm just looking at the equity of it all. And is there something else that can be done to ensure that when people are asking for information, they do pick that information up in a timely fashion that doesn't necessarily cause an inequitable situation from the most vulnerable and those who would have the most contact with police and the most marginalized. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, Kashil. Do I need to say my name and address again?
Yes.
We're good. Kashila Lloyd, 171 Iva Street. I I wanted to also comment a similar sentiment. I mean, I think we all know knowledge and information is power, and the more you put that behind gates or barriers, the less ability that people have to get that information. This ordinance requires you to prepay even before you're able to get the information, at least half of what you potentially could be the cost, which could be a significant barrier to someone getting information. And, you know, it's part of, you know, the reason that act existed was because people were hesitant to provide citizens their information. And the act was put in place to ensure that we have a way to ask our public, the people that, our leaders in public office, to provide us information if they're not doing it in a fashion, right? It gives us the law, right? And the ability to use that law to get that information. And putting that and behind another gate, particularly a gate around financial implications, and having it be the first gate you meet, even before you even know if the data is helpful or if anything, right? You know, is disheartening in an area where we're dealing in a time where books are being removed from public libraries, and we are furthermore making it harder and harder for people without the funds or the ability to get information. I get why, right? We don't want to, you know, create costs for the city that you all incur, that my taxes pay for. I get that. We also don't want frivolous requests. I also understand that. I just think that the way this reads, the way that it feels like it's being restrictive. And I don't know if there's another avenue we can create for people who do not have the funds. I don't know if it's something the Social Justice Committee could look at, creating a fund for people who may not have the ability to pay that money for them to apply or get some way to solve for that, or the city to do that in a way, so that we do provide an avenue for people to be able to get this information, because that's why this act was put in place, so that can be done. And I get there's costs to get that. But I do think that it feels rather in a time where I feel like more and more people are restricting people's free access to a lot of information. This doesn't feel right. So I just wanted to share that sentiment with the council.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to close the... Sure.
In here.
The portion isn't closed yet, so Council President, we'll address them all at the end.
I'm here my name is Kevin Gartland. My address is 1245 Main Street, apartment 337. I'm here in opposition to Ordinance O1125, which imposes a $150 per hour fee for requesters of body camera footage after the first hour requested. First, I'd like to talk about how Ordinance O1125 arrives at that $150 number. Ordinance O1125 assumes that for every hour of footage requested, 3 hours of redaction work will be required, and charges a rate of $50 per hour for redaction work. This is an unreasonable assumption which functions to deter requests of body camera footage which, as a public record, belongs to the public. Requesters of footage over a long time period, whether that's because they don't know the exact time of the incident they're looking for, or because the incident itself took over an hour, will find themselves paying steep fees up front, as a previous commenter mentioned. Second, and in closing, I'll note that this is part of a pattern, where this council and this administration chip away at transparency. You saw it with the reduction of speaking time at council meetings. You see it with the failure to consistently upload council agendas and minutes. You see it with no bid professional services contracts being awarded to donors again and again. You see it every time they go here into executive session on the library board, or here, or on other boards. And now you're seeing it with the financial barrier being put up for citizens who want to access their public records. I find it very disappointing that this ordinance is up for a second reading, and I hope the council will reconsider. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Hello again, Lisa Vandiver, 254 Oak Street. Also speaking up in opposition. As we all know, Oprah is a very complex issue. It does create a lot of expenses for the city, but in many cases they are legitimate expenses. If things were more easily provided to citizens who are just seeking basic information, budgets, library budgets, city budgets, we wouldn't have to be facing these expenses. in the issue of the police body cam reports, there have been numerous instances where investigative journalists have uncovered corruption. Most recent case, New Jersey State Police journalists used this body cam footage to prove that there was ongoing corruption and harassment from New Jersey State Police. And I believe in January even there's a Supreme Court decision that you cannot withhold footage. And while you might want to protect the privacy of other individuals within it, the judgment was that there are very limited cases in which that happens. So I'm sure that the city law people have done their due diligence, and we're not looking at any lawsuits from this. But if there were, of course, they would be racking up some more fees defending the case. I'm going to pull up C.J. Griffin, who's an expert on Oprah law. And she says that she called Tuesday's ruling a total victory, as well as anyone who's the subject of police body cam videos who wants to review the video. She said this should never be denied to them, makes no sense, and that while the decision clearly says the subject of a body cam video has a right to review it, its broader impact remains murky given the complexities of the body cam law. And she said that what often happens is because an agency can't figure out the law very well, then they just automatically deny something. So in this case, we're either facing outright denial or, as others have said, a barrier to requesting the footage in the first place. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you,
sir.
Council President.
Dear from our attorney.
Yes, thank you. David Mincello, happy to be here with you this evening. Just want to respond to some of the comments that were made about this particular ordinance. Just so that everyone is clear, this applies to open requests for body-worn camera footage. And the law of Rahway, as it stands today, before the adoption of this ordinance, is already for a $50 per hour cost for review of any body-worn camera footage. And why that ordinance is in place is because there are rights of privacy involved with people who may be involved in motor vehicle stops or arrests, and we have to make sure that we go through that to maintain the privacy rights of individuals who are involved, potentially even victims who are involved in crimes. So this is a painstaking process. But what this ordinance does, in fact, creates an easier access for residents to gain this material. Previously, any individual would be charged the $50 rate. However, under this amended ordinance, now if it's less than 1 hour, you get it for free. Okay? If you are a victim of a crime, you get it for free. Before any charge is applied to a resident, you're advised of that charge in advance. So there may be individuals who are unhappy with the $50 charge. What this ordinance actually does is make it easier and cheaper to access those records. So I just want to clear up the record for anyone who has concerns about this ordinance and what it intends to do. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President.
Yes, Mr. Brown.
Just one additional comment, sir. Back several years ago when I was the police director and the mayor brought me in, the body camera issue was one of the first things that we talked about. As a matter of fact, Rahway has been a part of an initiative with several other police agencies in the county that have been doing proactive body camera reviews since, maybe 4 or 5, maybe even 6 years ago, probably about 5 years ago. Those BWC reviews are consistently done by Director DeErico under his direction and Cleo Gamley's direction as well. So that happens on a consistent basis. But to address some of the concerns, I'll go on the record and say, yeah, it could be a barrier. There's no doubt about it. And I think one of the suggestions was to sit down maybe with social justice or someone else and think about a way to assist the people who can't afford it. If they're getting to the point where even after the 1 hour or whatever else comes next, they can't afford that, we could have that discussion to figure out how we can assist them. There's no doubt about that. People who are looking for body camera footage to assist them in a case, they're hurting. And if they're of a specific group that can't afford it, it's something that we ought to be talking about. But from the perspective of whether or not this is trying to cover anything up, the Rahway Police Department does an amazing job with being proactive about reviewing its current body camera video. I don't know the numbers now, but I know it's in the thousands of body cameras that have already been reviewed. So thank you, sir.
We'll close this part of the portion now with the meeting. Any councilman would like to speak on it?
Yes, Council President. I'll make a comment. I, like my community members in the audience, anytime I hear anything regarding something that can potentially restrict access, limit access, or make it more difficult for people to obtain records, especially from those from more vulnerable populations, it always captures my attention. From my reading of this ordinance, and also from what our city attorney has expressed, it seems as if this actually improves the status quo as of right now. However, I will say this too, that any initiative that we can put together as a community to improve this in the future, I would be happy to be a part of. As many of you do know, we do have a Social Justice Commission. I would be happy to work, as I do work as the liaison, to explore what other options we could do to expand access and transparency when it comes down to things like body-worn cameras. And to our BA's point, Rahway has been very proactive in regards to our police transparency, especially with body-worn cameras. Rahway was the first department in Union County to adopt body-worn cameras, and that's a good thing. So to that point, just with anything, ordinance go on, they reflect the nature of the times, and they always can be improved. Ideas can always be brought forward to us, and we can make it better than what it is. But as it stands right now, what's presented in front of us, I believe is going to improve what we currently have at the very moment, but it certainly could be better. And I live by the philosophy that we can't make perfect enemy of the good, we can only improve. So I do intend to vote in favor of this, but with all the openness that we can certainly improve this measure in the future, and not limiting it to potential a fund or so forth. But of course, we have to express and see what's feasible. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Brooks. Okay, we'll go to roll call.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Miles?
Yes.
Mojica?
Yes.
Montestioka?
Yes.
Newberry and Parson are absent. Timmons?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes. Okay. Ms. Capone, you're going to read O-1225 ordinance?
An ordinance amending Chapter 401 of the Code of the City of Rahway, Vehicles and Traffic, Seminary Avenue and Irving Street parking lot.
Okay, once again, at this time, we open it up to the public for the hearing of O-1225. You have 5 minutes to speak, and you may only speak once. Please direct all your comments to the council. Ms. Capone, do we have anybody that wants to speak?
Yes, Kwani Palmer Chambliss? Oh, this one too? Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. So no one else signed up.
Well, okay, we're going to close this portion of the meeting, the hearing, and then we'll go to council. Any questions? Okay, then we'll go right to roll call.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown? Yes. Miles?
Yes.
Mojica?
Yes.
Montestioka?
Yes.
Newberry and Parson are absent. Timmons?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes. Next one is O-1225.
We just did that one. Miscellaneous.
So we're on the miscellaneous business now. Block party permit for the annual Liberty HOG Toy Run, event dated November 9th. Mover Timmons and Mojica. And do the council members have any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Councilmember Brooks?
Yes.
Brown?
Yes.
Miles?
Yes.
Mojica?
Yes.
Montestioka?
Yes.
Newberry and Parson are absent. Timmons?
Yes.
Jablisco?
Yes. Now, at this time, we're at the closing. At the closing, we have any councilman comments? We'll start down there.
Good evening, everybody. First off, thank you very much for
all the residents that make it down. Definitely, I see this room growing since I started in January, so that's a good thing. And this is what it's part of, right? It's all about communication, because when Ms. Palmer started speaking about the ordinance, I was in complete agreement with her. I do think that there would be an issue if you were just charging somebody $50 to look at a video that they don't even know what they're looking at. But that's why we have understandings and communication as a city. That way we have a clear understanding of it, because if we didn't have that, we might all be leaving this room with a different understanding of what that ordinance was. But I think we're all clear now and understand a little bit more, and there could be more fixtures to it, but it's a start. That's the beginning of it, right? You have to start somewhere before it evolves. It's never going to be perfect from day one. I do want to thank you for that explanation that you did. And also for the tasting that we had this weekend. I think that was amazing. 1,000+ people showed up for our town, showing love, restaurants out there. I'm sure there was people out of town that even came here and showed our town love. It shows you that you don't have to get out of town sometimes to have fun, and you could enjoy and, give back to the community. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Ms. Timmons?
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to thank everyone for attending today and sharing their thoughts. Sadly, I was not able to make the taste, but I was able to see the footage, so I'd like to thank our city for putting out such great content on it. I was able to watch through your eyes, and hopefully I'll be able to attend next year. I would like to also remind everyone of the upcoming events. Check your calendars in regards to the upcoming holidays, Passover and things of that nature. I'd like to wish everyone a great and safe holiday. And if anyone is able to come out to the Easter egg hunt and or donate, please do so, and have a good evening.
Mr. Mojica?
Thank you, Council President. So we've mentioned hot rods and Harleys before. I'm a firm believer that repetition is the way to go. So I'm going to say it again, because I promised a friend a long time ago that I would promote hot rods and Harleys, and I can't forget you, Mike, for that one. So just so you know, hot rods and Harleys is Saturday, so May 10th, right? So think about, the next day is Mother's Day. So the day before, guys, come out, have fun, and then go visit Mom on Sunday. Okay, as part of the deal. But for those that have classic cars, classic motorcycles, it's not too late to register. Just go on the Facebook webpage for Hot Rods and Harleys. The registration forms are all there. It's a great place to show that pride of ownership of those beautiful cars and bikes you have. Now, on another topic, we've been mentioning police presence. We've been mentioning speeding. And I just want to reference off of El Patron over here, the bar that we were talking about, how, we saw a few violations. And just to be clear, I'm a firm believer in accountability, right? You break the law, the consequences should befall you, right? But what I've been noticing here is that we're talking about El Patron. I've seen it more than once already on the police PD report here, but we got a lot of bars in Rahway. I mean, are we just looking at El Patron? Are there any other bars in Rahway that might have violators out there? I mean, you're drinking, not everyone takes an Uber. You're going to get into your car, and whatever song's playing might motivate you to hit that accelerator a little harder than you usually do. So I urge our city to look at other bars in regards to potential violations. And for the violators, the people that are committing these violations, whether it be outside of motor vehicular violations, are these individuals from the city of Rahway? I'd be curious to know if the people that are patroning this location are from the city of Rahway. And if they are, how can we educate our citizens a little bit better regarding public safety and the responsibility of getting behind the wheel while you're intoxicated? Just those thoughts, and obviously I'd like to know. But it doesn't have to be tonight, but I am very curious about this. Thank you. And again, everyone for coming out. Great. It's not easy to speak. I appreciate everything. Have a good night.
Ms. Miles?
Thank you, Council President. I just want to reiterate what Mayor Jacoby said about the Taste of Spring, and thanking everyone, all the volunteers, the DPW, the rec centre, everyone involved to put that event together. I had a wonderful time. So did my husband as well. But it really was fantastic, and the temperature was really good this year. It wasn't hot. It was really great. I also have to say I was spoiled this weekend. The Merchants and Drovers Tavern, they did a murder mystery dinner, which I went last year. I absolutely recommend that. And in saying that, there's so many things that happen in Rahway, so many events going on. If you go to the rec centre and you look on the counter at the rec centre, you can see many flyers and posters of things that are happening around town. If you're a senior, if you stop at the senior centre, they have many flyers of different events that are happening for seniors, and also the city website and the city Facebook page as well. So I really enjoyed this weekend. Thank you to everyone who took part in putting those events, and I look forward to Hot Rods and Harleys coming up. Thank you.
Mr. Brown?
Yes, thank you, Council President. What I'd like to say is that, first of all, the Taste of Spring was very nice for me, because last year I wasn't able to attend it. I was a little ill. But I think that when I came this time, I enjoyed myself. There were so many people there. The other thing about it is I had an opportunity to eat, but, to eat a lot of soft foods, which all of the restaurants were there. You're going to look at Rahway and see that we have some of the finest restaurants around that's competitive. And you see people coming in eating. If you go on a Sunday afternoon, you can see quite a few of them are very crowded, for bringing in their families. So the Taste of Spring was very nice. The other thing I'd like to say is this: with the woman that was here for the health department, the director, I had the first time to speak with her this afternoon, and she was telling me a lot about about the Board of Health. Now, what I'd like to do is to say to the administration, up on West Grand Avenue, there's a new church there, and they were always looking for people to come in with the health fair, of having the health fair at their church and then having the health fair at the rec center. I'll get you that information where you could maybe get in contact with it to see what we can do. I'm quite sure here in the city we can work with them to do something, especially when you come to the administration before something happens and seeing that it's done properly. The other thing is that the bar, the El Patron, that's on New Brunswick Avenue and Eastern Street. I live on Eastern Street. Do I get a lot of concerns with the people that are there? Yes, I do. We find out with the bar, it's a bar, a lot of people come. Parking is a situation. At night when it's let out, those are the things that you have to look at. But the police department is there looking at it. The people that are there, my residents, they're concerned. And one of the residents is Michael Richardson. He's an individual that really puts on a video showing things, about what's going on there. But what we have to do is work together to find out what can be done to make sure that the patrons that go there know what they should do and should not do. The other thing that I wanted to ask is, what are the hours of the bars being open? Can someone tell me that? Or find out for me? All right. In closing, I'd like to say this. The City of Rahway works with this program, which is called the Teens that Give Out Summer Jobs. And the gentleman there, his name is Steve Lewis at the Rec Center. And I think that this year we've been working at doing something for the students there that's a little different. Some of the things in which we've done is working with the Meridia, working with construction for the students that are seniors, because you got to be 18 to work with the construction. They're doing some community service work, And also another group that's working with us is Columbia Bank. Now, those are just a few that I'm working with to work with Mr. Lewis. And I'm quite sure that there's other people that would know here in the city to help our students, you know, with their education, and they're furthering their education of what they'd like to do. And the city's working on that. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to say is this. I was very proud to see that 461 on East Milton Avenue, they're going to be doing the sidewalk repaving. That project I've been working on it for 4 years, but finally they're getting it done. And the residents that's there, he told me he would appreciate it very much. I was able to get with the engineering department today to get the okay that it's gone out for bid, and they're ready to do the project. So I didn't want to get egg on my face that they wasn't going to do it, but they are going to do it, which I'd like to say thank you very much, and thank you for the administration.
Okay, thank you, sir. My Vice President, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Council President, and thank you, public, for coming out tonight. A lot of great comments, a lot of great appreciated feedback. I did want to just take note, one of the themes that has obviously been of great importance in the city of Rahway over the last, say probably since December, has been the issue with the water. The water presentation that did take place, I believe, in February, if I'm not mistaken, is up on, it was in March, my apologies, is on YouTube. It's a 52-minute presentation with Dan Lee. I think he did a great job explaining the inner workings of that. I can also say that some of our council members have had the privilege to tour the facility as well. So there's more things to come out and to be in the works in regards to our water situation. So your concern is our concern. I can certainly relate to having sensitive skin and, family members having eczema and, the water being a bit rough. So, we're your neighbors, and, a lot of the things that you deal with, we also deal with as well. So that's definitely being addressed. To my distinguished council member colleague, Mr. Mojica, the situation with El Patron, when I sat in the meetings with our director and our chief law enforcement officer, it did come off a bit unusual to me as well. I had some of the same questions. My concern was that they might have been targeted, but I was, reassured that that's not the case. Do other bars, establishments violate the law at times and not do things that are up to par? I'm certain that's the case. But it seems like this has been repeated behavior within a condensed amount of time. I'm sure that chief law enforcement officer would be happy to speak with you and give you more details regarding that. But I also think that because of the area, like Councilmember Brown stated, El Patron happens to be an establishment that's in more of a residential area. So it very well might be the case where it might get more complaints or more attention garnered to it. It does kind of stand out in that particular area. But that's my opinion. That's not anything based in actual facts. I also wanted to bring up on March 15th of last month, we had a very successful expungement clinic. We were able to, and this was a collaborative effort with some great community partners, including the Rahway Community Action Organization, who provided the space to us for free. It's a effort that the city got behind, and I'm very pleased with the mayor and with our business administrator that they have been very supportive in this initiative. I know the issue of dispensaries has always been something that's been somewhat controversial, but they did foot the bill for this as a way to give back beyond the 2% tax revenue that comes to the city of Rahway in regards to that. And sometimes you have to hold establishments and corporations accountable. And, if they have certain things on their website that says that, hey, we're about giving back and about the community, well, this is when you tap them and say, hey, listen, this is your chance to prove yourself right. You know, how can you work with us to assist our community members? And they came through. They foot the whole entire financial burden of that, and I'm proud of the results of that day, that so many people have a second chance at the American dream, and so many families could have a potential better financial outcome because their parents can now attain better housing or better job situations. So I thank the mayor again for, not just this time, but for the last few times of being very supportive with this idea. And this isn't it. There's a lot of great ideas that come from community members, and if there's anything that we can do to help support or promote it, by all means, I like to be a part of that effort. I'm sure my council colleagues have things that they're passionate about that we can certainly help push and promote. Big shout out to Assemblywoman Linda Carter as well, who provided a proclamation to the law firm Blaze Responsibly for all the hard work that they have done. They do these type of clinics throughout the state, and even to other states. So it's just an example of government and the community working together for innovative solutions. And with that being said, Mr. Landolfi, I do appreciate you willing to take the meeting with Paula Braxton, to discuss some of the things we talked about. And for all you out here, thank you for coming out again. We'll see you next month. Have a great day. Be safe. Council President.
Thank you, sir. I just want to thank Mr. Landolfi once again for reading the ordinance and the resolution. So I think that it informs the public what's going on and try to show what we're doing. And also, with our vice president over here, when he gives a police report and the mayor giving his things, more showing people what we're doing and showing what's going on here in town and being more specific as to what's going on so people are aware of what's going on. And I thank you all for coming out tonight, and I want to close the meeting now. Okay?
I second.
Adjournment.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.